The journey south on this GNER Express takes me to York, Doncaster and past the crash site at Hatfield onto London. To understand the roots of this crisis, we need to go back to rail privatisation. The system that replaced British Railways is so complicated, most people struggle to understand it. GNER doesn't actually own this train, it leases it. Nor does it own the bridges, signals and tracks over which it runs. They're owned by Railtrack, the only privatised track authority in the world, which is why its sell-off was so fiercely contested.
How often have you turned on the radio and heard another devastating blow has been dealt to the government's plans to privatise the railways? Rubbish. Privatisation is happening and it will bring better services to passengers.
There were soothing assurances that in private hands, what was seen as a national asset would be carefully maintained.
The interests of the travelling public and the interests of our shareholders are identical in producing a better, more reliable, more punctual railway.
The government will soon be selling shares in Railtrack.
Railtrack was a rushed cut-price sale by the Tories. In fact, they almost gave it away by writing off £1.2 billion of BR's debt. Whatever the failings of British Rail, one thing was certain. At least you knew who was in charge. Now the system has been broken into 100 different pieces, all held together by legal contracts. Welcome to the most fragmented railway in the world.
Undoubtedly, the different parts of the railway don't really stick together. The trouble with legal contracts is that people take a contractual approach to matters, and they may not necessarily do the common sense thing if it disadvantages their companies.
Railtrack added to these problems by not checking to see just how worn out the track it now owned was. Although custodians of a vital national asset, the company failed to make a proper engineering assessment of its state, something the present rail regulator who oversees Railtrack is still urging them to do.
It's the company's responsibility to understand the condition, the capability and the capacity of their assets. They failed properly to understand the condition of their network, and that, I think, has led to some very significant difficulties down the road.
Railtrack entrusted maintenance of the track to a multitude of contractors, this further fragmented an already fragmented railway. In February 1997 came an early warning that the new system could lead to maintenance problems. 7 freight wagons crashed over a viaduct at Bexley in Kent. Miraculously, no one died, though 4 people were seriously injured. The derailment was caused by rotting track timbers. The contractors had known this for 18 months, and so had Railtrack. All Railtrack had to do was monitor the contract, and they didn't even do that.